Colleagues and friends, I'd like to be there today, but the situation in Hungary just makes it impossible. But you do have Monica Makovej with you, and she's an alumna and a trustee of CEU, so she can explain the whole story in person. Since March 2017, CEU has been fighting to remain in Budapest because it's been our home here for 25 years. We're proud of lots of things, that we welcome students from more than 100 countries, that we have faculty from 40, that we're among the most competitive institutions in Europe in terms of getting competitive research funding. But we're proudest of all of our fight to defend academic freedom and institutional autonomy in Europe. We fought for some very simple principles: that universities should be free from outside political meddling, and that they're entitled to a stable rule of law framework for their operations. Universities can't operate if their legal framework is at the whim of the government. In other words, if law is a simple tool of power. In Hungary, law is a tool of power. The legislation which will forbid us to accept new students after January 1, 2019, that's in 56 days, was passed without consultation in the Parliament, without discussion with us. We have no legal right of appeal, even though the law is in flagrant violation of the Hungarian Constitution. We have no effective remedy in European law, even though the legislation violates treaty law on the freedom to operate services in education. Now, the European Commission has launched infringement proceedings with the European Court of Justice, and the CEU case figured prominently in recent days when the European Parliament voted to sanction Hungary. But none of these actions have had any effect. And our experience is a sobering demonstration of the weakness of European institutions in the face of clear violations of the rule of law and academic freedom in member states. So that's the European dimension, but we're also an American institution. And thus far, the Orban government has failed to respond to repeated attempts by the US ambassador to persuade the Hungarians to allow an American institution to remain in Budapest. So that's where we are. Now, there are two lessons here, and the first is that single-party states in Europe can defy European rules and values while continuing to enjoy all the privileges and all the resources that go with European membership. And the second lesson, even more depressing, is that US allies and NATO partners can defy the United States without any consequence. And there's a third, final, and wider implication. US universities have campuses all over the world, in Abu Dhabi, in Singapore, in Shanghai, in Beijing. And CEU's story is a warning to all of them. In a decade, will those universities still be able to operate as free institutions? To ask this question is to ask a question not just about the future of academic freedom, it's to ask a question about the future of freedom itself. Thank you.